2.5 forecast. Moisture coming up from the south and the west will give us a chance of showers and maybe a thunderstorm today, tonight, and early on Tuesday, then clearing tomorrow afternoon. You'll be in the low to mid-60s this afternoon, around 40 tonight, and upper 50s to around 60 on Tuesday, rather breezy to windy on Tuesday. Wednesday mostly sunny, near 50. Your life, your music, we're KLEK 102.5 FM.
KLEK-LP, Jonesboro, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. Two anti-establishment parties in Italy say they have a right to govern after the election did not deliver a ruling majority to any of the contenders. South Korean officials have met with North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un in Pyongyang for the first time since he took office in 2011. The Shape of Water won Oscar for Best Picture at the Academy Awards. German Chancellor Angela Merkel has called for her new government to begin working quickly.
It's 9:01.
Good Wednesday morning, Jonesboro. This is meteorologist Tim Root with your KLEK 102.5 forecast. Mostly sunny today, temperatures with less wind, about 45 to 50, a northwest wind up to 15. Light winds tonight near 30, mostly clear skies. You'll be around 50 with sunshine for Thursday, light northwest winds. Friday should be partly to mostly sunny near 60, chance of showers Friday night. Jonesboro's community radio station, we're KLEK 102.5 FM.
KLEK-LP Jonesboro, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council. It's now time for Community Conversations, a program focusing on the people working to make the Jonesboro community a better place, while offering viewpoints from all sides of the issues. The views expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of KLEK 102.5 FM, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council, or our underwriters or sponsors.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Wednesday to you. I hope that you're having a great start to your day. Today is feeling like winter again. When is this Arkansas weather going to make up its mind? So, anyways, you're tuned into Community Conversations. I'm your host, Quabila Jones, and I have two very special guests with me today from the Jonesboro Police Department. March is Women's History Month, National Women's History Month, and so today we are talking to some women who are doing their thing in the community of Jonesboro. We have Captain Lynn Waterworth. Thank you for coming.
I'm glad to be here.
And we have Patrol Officer Rayonica Thomas. Thank you so much for joining us today. All right, we have one Facebook shout out from Miss Sonia Hunter. Thank you for tuning in, and whoever else is watching this morning. So we're going to get right into our show today. We're going to be talking about all things women in the police department, and they're going to be as open and honest as they feel like. We're not going to push, but we're going to talk about some good stuff as well. So I hope you stay tuned and take notes. But before we get into that, I would like for each of you to please give us an introduction of yourself. Tell us how long you've been with the force. Miss Captain Lynn.
My name is Lynn Waterworth. I actually came to work for the police department. I hate to tell how long ago it was, but of course those that are watching on Facebook are going to see the gray hair. This June will be 30 years ago that I walked in the door.
30 years.
And just the whole thing has been an awesome ride. I'm still excited to come to work every day.
All right. Well, we thank you for your service. All right, Miss Briannica.
Well, it's been 3.5 years for me.
Okay.
And for me, choosing this career was a no-brainer. Okay. I was originally going to go to the military, but I dislocated my shoulder.
Oh, no.
And they wouldn't take me. But I love the police department that I work for. I love my agency. Love this job. I love the people of Jonesboro. I credit Jonesboro with saving my life because I grew up on the south side of Chicago, but
oh, wow.
I love this place.
So Arkansas is a big transition from Chicago.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
It is.
I'm sure everyone on the force and the community is grateful to have you and your expertise here to protect and serve. All right, so let's get into what is it like. Okay, we'll start with Captain Lynn. Since you've been on the force longer, what was it like for you getting started, walking into, even though it wasn't an all-boys club at the time, but still, it's some...
It was pretty close.
Okay.
There was one other female. And we originally... The first female officers that I'm aware of came on the force back in the 70s.
Okay.
And it was really, one of the ladies told me, her name was Charlotte Wooten, she told me, she said, I did not get in a police car. This was strictly so they could have a female on the rolls and that kind of thing. And so when I came on, the officer that worked at the time, Natalie Goodrich, she was only like the second female officer that had ever actually gotten in a patrol car.
Oh my goodness.
And so it was not an all boys club, but it was pretty close.
Okay. Now, when you did come on and start moving up the ranks, were you supported, like, by your other male counterparts?
It's like everything.
Okay.
Yes, I was supported for the most part, but there are those that, they have a little bit different view. Okay. And you're a little bit more is expected of you.
Okay. So they maybe felt that wasn't a woman's place, or you weren't capable. Did anyone ever openly say to you that you didn't belong? We definitely don't have to say who.
So yes.
Okay.
Yes, definitely. And I was definitely told at one point in time that I did not have a place being in a position of rank.
Do you feel
by
that
an officer who outranked me?
Oh, okay. Do you feel that some males just feel threatened by women in a position of power of that sort?
I don't know that I would say that they necessarily feel threatened.
Okay.
But people who are older especially have sort of a predetermined idea of what they think women should be and where they think they should serve society the best, shall we say.
Okay. We're going to keep it PC today. a little PG rather. Okay. Ms. Rayana, can you share some of your experience, even though you're fairly new on the force?
Yeah, I'm fairly new. I haven't felt any opposition with being a female. I feel like this day and age, our positions are more accepted.
Okay.
Because people realize that they're needed. There are certain calls where kids or women feel more comfortable with a female officer around,
okay.
And I've experienced that on a weekly basis on some of the calls because they're sensitive in nature.
Okay.
And so they'll be like, okay, yeah, we need a female officer, and you get there, and we can get together. We can work together and get to the bottom of everything. So.
Okay. All right. We have 2 more shout outs. Joanna Renita says good morning, and Sonia says Chi-Town in the house. Sonia, so do you know
good morning,
Sonia?
Mom.
Do you know Sonia?
Joanne's
Your
my mom.
Okay, well, good morning, Mom. All right. So let's talk about the feedback from the community. Of course, you all come from, and not to make a distinction, but you are from 2 different generations. So when you first joined, what was the feedback from the community when they found out we have a female, another female?
Again, I didn't have the same experience because I'm a little bit older, so you had some of those people that were very much kind of like, "Oh, I want you to arrest me," and then very sexist comment. They thought they were being funny, but it's still nonetheless it was a very sexist comment. Then there were other members of the community who were excited.
Okay.
And that was always, felt really good to encounter those folks, that they were excited. Oh, yes, that's what we've been needing, is some women.
Okay. That's awesome. And what about you?
The sexist part of it hasn't changed. I actually work security on the weekends at one of the local bars, and you still get those comments. Oh, Miss Officer, arrest me. Yes, and you get that aspect of it, but it's still Jonesboro treats us pretty well.
And see, this is why I tell Chief that I'm not built for that life, because I'm like, okay, I have a gun, a taser, and a baton. Which one do you want? Like, there would be no more discussion. So you gonna have to arrest me because I would be the one beat up on the person. Anyway. Okay, so what about the impact it has made? Well, not impact, but the feedback from your family. With any job like this, of course, there is a fear factor. We hear about so many officer injuries on duty, either you getting shot by a suspect that you're in pursuit of, or just someone that out of their mind and feel like, well, I can stand up against the law. So what are some discussions you've had with your family when you first told them, I'm going to apply for the police department?
I had the full support of my family.
Okay.
My mom, I have an uncle who's chief of police. I have 2 cousins that are in law enforcement, and most of my family has a military background. So I didn't have the opposition from my family.
Okay.
They fully supported me.
That is totally awesome.
I'm not going to say opposition, but my parents were kind of like, ooh, are you sure? I mean, So, fear from a parent. I'm a parent myself now, so I could kind of see that that might not be what you would pick for your children. Yeah. As far as my husband's in law enforcement as well, so obviously he's accepting of what's going on, and my kids don't know anything any different.
Okay. I know that TV and movies have a tendency to distort reality. When you encounter certain people, do they try to approach you like they watch one too many Law and Order, Cops, Blue Chips, whatever shows?
Oh yes, we have a lot of detectives that we didn't know we hired. There are a lot of people who, and I'll if I have the time to, I will educate them that everything you see on TV is 95% of what you see on TV is not how it actually works in the real world. And a lot of stuff that the laws that we enforce is actually public knowledge. And I try to give people the avenues of where they can read the same thing that we've been reading for our career so far. So it's not hidden to anybody. You just have to take the time out to look that stuff up.
Okay. So is there a particular website or just maybe Arkansas laws? Or
well, the state of Arkansas. The state of Arkansas, if you get on their arkansas.gov website, down at the bottom left-hand side, it says state code. And you can read every state law and everything like that. Unfortunately, what you have is people, they want to interpret it based on what they think or what they've heard. Okay. Or what they think something happened to someone else or something like that.
Okay. It doesn't work like that. Alrighty. So let's talk about more some of the people that you have encountered, the good, the bad, the ugly. Some of the highs and lows of the job on a day-to-day basis.
I mean, it would be much like encountering people anywhere in life. Okay. There's good, there's bad, and there's people that have different interpretations of reality than you do. Okay. And generally that's where we kind of come in, because we have to step in perhaps and intervene and help people interpret things. But I mean, for me, what I see is most of the time they're still people. My dad told me a long time ago, he said there's something about everyone that you should respect them for. Okay. And that's kind of really stuck with me as an adult. And that's what I try to remember when I encounter people, whether they're a victim or whether they're a suspect. They deserve my respect. Okay. And so if you approach people in a respectful manner, then, that not will always help, but usually it will help some.
Okay. Most of the time that's what works here. I know we arrest people almost on a daily basis, but some of them, because of how we treat them, and at Jonesboro officers as a whole, not just us two, how we treat them, they'll thank us. Like, hey, thank you for letting me, get me in a position to take care of what I got to take care of.
I watched a video on Facebook. It was a judge giving not really a testimony, a testimony of sorts. She was saying how a man that had an addiction came to her courtroom, and she saw that he really wanted to change. And she told him, come back at a certain time, and then we'll work on a treatment plan. He actually showed up, and so she realized at that moment how you treat people makes a big difference in the outcome of their maybe the help that they get or how they may turn their life around. And so from that point on, she made a conscious effort to treat every person that came in her courtroom with a little more humanity and respect, and not just treat them like some hard. Okay, yes, some of them were criminals. They committed a crime, but at the same time, they were human beings. Mm-hmm. So she treated them like human beings, but still enforced the law, and that made a big difference in the outcome in their lives. They were more likely to turn their life around versus go back into a life of crime. Speaking of that, have you encountered people that have come back to you? I know you said people thank you, but say maybe months or maybe a year or so later, you don't even remember this person, but they find you and they tell you, look, because of what you did, XYZ has happened in my life. Have you ever encountered that?
Yes, I actually have one guy in particular that he was the first DWI that I ever helped with, worked, or whatever the case may be. And this was 3 years ago when I was fresh out of FTO. Okay. And at that night, he was intoxicated and he was belligerent and everything. But I didn't go above where I was with him. I talked to him, treated him like a human being, hey, he went to jail, got him off the streets. But to this day, I see him probably once or twice a week.
Okay.
And he'll hug me, he'll shake my hand, he'll
Wow.
say, hey, I still remember that night. I always remember that night because you didn't treat me like I was less than a human. So
That's awesome.
so that's one that's really stuck out with me because I'm pretty sure I've had more, but I see him more than everybody else. So
Wow, that's amazing.
that was good.
Captain Man.
One that always sticks out in my mind is several years ago.
Okay.
As a relatively new detective, I encountered a juvenile that had been involved in, to tell you the truth, I don't even remember what it was now, but he was arrested and his mother had passed away recently. And it was he and his dad, and Dad came in and he was like, well, I just don't know, da-da-da-da-da. And so I just kind of kicked it in and I said, that's not an excuse. You can't say because of this, and this that my child's going to suffer. You're going to have to, grow up and man up and jump in there and raise him like the parent you should be. And don't make excuses for why you can't. And it was probably 4 or 5 years later. I'm walking through the middle of Walmart. My kids and my mom tease me all the time, we can't take you anywhere because everybody knows you. But I'm walking through the middle of Walmart and this man comes up to me and he says, you don't remember me, do you? And I was like, no, I really don't. And so he proceeded to tell me, he said, I was the one that my son got in trouble and da-da-da-da. He said, I can't thank you enough for the hind-end chewing you gave me that day.
Wow.
It was well-deserved. We turned things around, he said, and he's in college now. He said, first person in our family to go to college. And I just can't thank you enough for, stepping in and just putting it out there and stating reality like it was. He said, that's the wake-up call I needed.
Those stories, I'm sure, make the job so much more worthwhile when you see that you have made an impact in somebody's life. They're turning around and start making better choices. And on the flip side of that, I know you have encountered people that you have time and time again have run into them, arrested them probably multiple times. And have you ever had the conversation like, okay, what is really going on? When are you going to get it together? You just want to shake them, but you can't. But have you encountered people like that?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. There are some people that we deal with daily. There was a couple, and I was dealing with them almost on a daily basis, 5 days a week. Every time I checked 10-8, they were into it about something. And finally, after a few months of dealing with them, I'm just like, hey, y'all, if it's not working, just be okay. Be adult enough to say that it's not working. Obviously, y'all can't be together. And for a while, I didn't see them. And last year, I think it had been a couple of years. And last year, I saw them. They were in the store together. And I don't know if they went to counseling or whatever the case may be, but they were smiling, joking, holding hands. And I haven't been out there since. But for a long time, for a while, I was dealing with them every day.
Wow.
And they were slashing each other's cars. I'm just like,
What?
you can't press charges against each other because you're married, so it's marital property.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's a new one on me. So if you're married, you're trying to hurt each other's property, hurt each other, then
What's yours is his, what's his is yours.
The property thing, it's not until you start
If you
with
hurt
one
each
another.
other,
Okay.
then,
if you hurt each other or
that's something different.
do something to put someone else in danger.
okay.
Yeah, I had a neighbor one time that his wife took a baseball bat to his pickup truck. It was his absolute pride and joy. And some of the other officers responded because he called and they get out and they're like, he said, you've got to stop her. And they're like, sir, you're married. It's her truck too. If she wants to bust the windows out, she can. At which point he turned around and showed him the knife sticking out of the back of his leg. He said, well, can you do anything about that?
Oh, yeah.
That we could do something about.
Wait
Definitely.
a minute. She stabbed him too. Okay.
He wasn't worried about that. He was worried about the fact that
The
she was destroying his truck.
Okay, well, you could have an order. Anyway, priorities were all messed up. Oh, my goodness. Again, you're tuned in to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. We are speaking with Captain Lynn Waterworth and Patrol Officer Rayonica Thomas from the Jonesboro Police Department. If you have any questions or comments, drop them in our Facebook live stream or give us a call in the studio, 870-277-1080. All right, so we have like a few minutes left in this segment, so I don't want to get too deep into another question. a deeper question, but I do want to ask, since we're talking about women in the police department, discrimination, you talked about some of the gender discriminations. Rihanna, from your point of view, what are some of or have you experienced any racial discrimination?
I wouldn't necessarily call it discrimination. I would say that most times if I come on the scene, if I make a traffic stop, a lot of people seem relieved because I am a black officer.
Okay.
They feel like, oh, okay, I got somebody on my team, so if something happens that's not supposed to happen, then somebody will be here to tell my side of the story if I'm not. I mean, I hate that happens. I hate that they feel like that, but it is what it is. And then I have other people who, for some reason, they think that my skin color I won't do my job.
Oh.
Basically, I'll give them a pass.
No.
Oh, hey sis, let me tell you guys, can I tell you? No, what you did was wrong, and I took an oath that I'm going to uphold the law that I took an oath for. That it is what it is. Race doesn't matter to me, gender doesn't matter to me. If you break the law, you break the law.
And that's right. You still get this ticket.
Yeah, I'm going to jail.
When you get through talking, so... All right. So when we come back from our break there, we're going to switch gears a little bit and talk about CPA. Since there's so many people that think they know what goes on in the police department, what it's like to actually walk in your shoes. We're going to tell them about an opportunity they can take to find out for themselves. And then we'll talk about some more of the application process of becoming an officer, and then why representation is important for the community as a whole, for gender and race. So we're going to take a break here in a moment. But before we do, we got like 15 seconds. Do you want to give any kind of shout outs or any kind of other information?
I don't have.
Oh, Lord. Okay. Well, maybe when we come back from break, but we just want to thank you guys for coming in, being so open, and we hope that people are getting something out of our conversation or prompted to ask more questions, and we'll talk about how people can reach out to you and other some community engagement activities you may be involved in. So don't go anywhere. You're tuned into Community Conversations, and we'll be right back after these announcements.
You're listening to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. We'll be right back.
What are the trigger points that make you prickly? I'm Mark Merrill with today's Family Minute. Porcupines have trigger points that cause the sharp quills on its back to raise up. When it's threatened or irritated, it can get really mean and shoot those quills into someone or something and cause a lot of pain. Well, I've got certain trigger points that cause me to get cranky and prickly. One of mine is unmet expectations. When I have crazy high expectations for others and those expectations are not met, I start feeling very prickly. Another trigger point for me is when I haven't gotten enough sleep. That's when my quills really raise up. For a list of common trigger points that bring out the porcupine in all of us and what to do about it, visit my blog at markmerrill.com. Remember, your family first.
Family Minute is made possible by the Kappa Nu Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, a non-profit organization committed to service to all mankind. Kappa Nu Omega Alpha Kappa Alpha on Facebook and KNOMEGA1908.com.
Hello, this is Quabila from Community Conversations. We at KLEK 102.5 FM strive every day to give to you. We strive to give you music that uplifts you. We strive to give you information to keep you informed about news, candidates, and the issues. We strive to give you a place where all voices can be heard. We strive to give you stories of people making a difference for 3 years and counting. We at KLEK have strived to give you our very best. We hope and pray that somehow, in some way, KLEK has helped to enrich your life. If so, please consider giving to us so that we may continue to give to you as your community radio station. KLEK is hosting our first annual pledge drive, March 15th through the 18th, from 6 o'clock a.m. to 6 o'clock p.m. each day. Community leaders and regular people just like you will tell their stories on how KLEK has helped them, and you will have an opportunity to call in and make your pledge of support. If you don't want to wait until March 15th, go to our website, www.klekfm.org. Click the donate button and make your donation now. All donations are tax deductible. Please consider giving to us so that we may give back to you.
Hello, I'm Officer Victoria Evans. I have always had a desire to help others in need and to be an example and role model to young women by encouraging them to never give up on their dreams. My dream was to become a police officer and to serve my community. In 2016, that dream became a reality, and it is the most rewarding experience of my life. Now I want to let you know about the same opportunity. The Jonesboro Police Department will conduct testing every month for patrol officers. Applications are available online at jonesboropolice.com or at the Police Department, 1001 South Caraway Road. The Jonesboro Police Department offers a competitive salary, health, and retirement benefits, top-of-the-line training, and most importantly, the chance to make a difference in the Jonesboro community. Join me in making Jonesboro a better place. The Jonesboro Police Department is an equal opportunity employer, and women and minorities are especially encouraged to apply. More information is available at 870-935-5657.
Celebrating Women's History Month on KLEK 102.5 FM. Here's your Women's History Moment with Dr. Sharice Jones Branch.
This is Dr. Sharice Jones Branch, and this is your Women's History Moment. Born on March 24th, 1912 in Richmond, Virginia, Dorothy Irene Height moved to Pennsylvania at the age of 4. Always a good student, Height won a scholarship which she used to attend New York University. She earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Education and a Master's in Educational Psychology from the university. Height's first job was a caseworker in New York City in the New York City Welfare Department. In 1937, she met Mary McLeod Bethune, who became her mentor. In 1939, Height became president of the National Council of Negro Women, a post she would hold until 1998. She was also the national president of Delta Sigma Theta from 1946 to 1957. As president of the NCNW, Height helped organize the March on Washington in 1963. In 1971, she, along with Gloria Steinem, Shirley Chisholm, and Betty Friedan, founded the National Women's Political Caucus. And in 1986, she organized the first Black Family Reunion celebration. In 1989, President Ronald Reagan awarded Height the Citizens Medal Award for Distinguished Service. President George Bush presented her with the Congressional Gold Medal and the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2000. Dorothy Irene Height died on April 20th, 2010.
And now back to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM.
All right, welcome back to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. I'm your host, Quabila Jones, and my special guests today are Captain Lynn Waterworth and Patrol Officer Rayonica Thomas. We can't thank them enough for joining us today, and we want to give a shout out to Sergeant Lyle Waterworth and Cora Evans Hester for tuning in, and Dwayne Harden and Miss Marsha Phillips for tuning into the conversation. Thank you all for joining us today. If you have any questions for these ladies, please drop them in our Facebook live stream, and we'll be happy to address them on air. Unless it's something personal, then we address it off air. So, all right, so we're gonna keep going with our conversation, and we're gonna ask some more questions, kind of dig deeper into what it's like being a female on the force. I know we said we're going to go into talk about CPA, but we'll ask a few more questions. Thanks, Laganzi, for dropping some more questions our way. What is it like, he said camaraderie, but I guess the communication, the interaction with the women on the force. Do you all really communicate or feel like it's a sister? I hate to be so hard. A sister girlfriend club. Do you all rely on each other, lean on each other, go to each other?
We have a better appreciation of
Okay.
the difficulties. I think I would have a better appreciation. It's just different. It's not that it's good, bad, or one way or the other, I guess, so much as it's just different. You face different challenges as a female, and so you want to go to that person who has something in common with you and will understand what's going on. So
because several of you are mothers, and so I'm sure that you all have a lot more in common. You understand each other's frustration, being on the job and then having the responsibility of family. And so it's like, where do you find the balance?
I remember telling one of our newer officers, not their spouse, not too long ago, they were concerned about the fact that his wife wanted to be a police officer, and what's going to happen with my kids. And I said, I'll introduce you to mine. They're pretty much grown now, and they came out just fine. It will be okay.
Okay. Alrighty. And so for you, Veronica, what has that experience been like?
Well, I don't have any kids, but it seems that I know on my shift, us females are a little bit more closer than, it's just than the rest of with the guys. Okay. But we go out together sometimes, we eat together sometimes, but there is kind of a sisterhood, not necessarily born out of trials and tribulations, but just because that's how we operate. Okay. You know, we look for that girl to lean on. We look for that girl to confide in, and it's easier.
And you're gonna gravitate to people that have things in common with you, no matter what the setting, whether it's at work or even in your personal life.
Okay. All right. Now, on another note, on the other side of that, do some of the male officers try to treat you like their little sister, or little, do they kind of feel like they have to look out for you in essence, or protect you in some type of way?
I don't get the little sister thing so much anymore because I'm a little older, so now I get more like they're going to treat me like their mom.
Oh, no.
Which, unfortunately, I'm old enough to be mother to a lot of them that are working there now. But when I first started, that did happen. I can remember going on a call. We had this guy that every time you turn around, he was raising Cain about something. Oh. And he was usually drinking. He would be breaking something, doing something. And so they send me to the call because it's my area. I need you to go contact so-and-so. He's up at this particular time. He was up off of North Main Street. Okay. And when I get there, he's sitting on the curb. He's draining the last bit out of his bottle of Thunderbird and flinging the bottle back over his shoulder. And as soon as I pull up, he immediately stands up. Starts in. And so I can hear in the background, the guys are like, just hang on, I'll be there in a minute. Just hang on, I'll be there in a minute. But I learned a long time ago, I'm not big enough to do the things the guys can do. Okay. So I had to learn to use this thing on the front of my face and start talking. It's not about brute strength all the time. And so I approached it a little different than maybe they had in the past. And I said, hey, have you eaten lunch yet today? And he just stops. You can see he's, no. I said, when was the last time you ate? And he said, yesterday sometime. I said, they're having kraut and wheat. He said, you want to go eat? He's like, come on, let's go. And he threw his hands up on the car, and he was ready to go. So you learn to approach things a little differently. Yes, they were worried about me. It's like, oh, well, just wait, I'm almost there. I'm like, I got this. Okay. We're good.
Alrighty. So speaking of that, though, have you found yourself in situations where people were rowdy, out of control, but because you chose to use a different tone with them, it totally changed the mood of the situation?
Yes, it happens for me at my off duty all the time. Sometimes you gotta talk them out. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you do have to go hands on. But I feel like we can talk more because most people won't look at us as a threat. Okay. I mean, we are police officers. We wear the uniform, but most people, if you're talking to them, they're like, okay, so I don't have to be from 0 to 100 because they're not 0 to 100. Okay. They're talking to me, so I'm gonna calm down. I've had. Sometimes it doesn't really work with women so much.
Women are harder.
I had a lady actually request that I leave her house at a call. She didn't vibe with me that well. And so the guy stayed there. They dealt with her, but she didn't like me.
Women are harder to deal with sometimes.
Yes. Really?
Yes.
Well, duh. So the woman felt that she could go toe to toe with you, or she just could overtalk you, or?
Yeah, she was trying to overtalk me, and I tried to get down to the bottom of it. She kept cussing and cussing, and I was in her house, but you still have to respect. You have to respect me. If you want me to help you, you have to respect me. She didn't like the fact that I told her not to cuss in her house. Okay. I was just like, I don't care if you cuss in your house, just don't cuss at me.
I know that's
But she didn't like that.
Okay. Well, one day they're going to appreciate the work that you do and realize that you're actually there to help all officers, male and female. You're there to help them, help calm the situation, and hopefully help turn it into a better situation than what it currently is, depending on what it is at the time. Okay, speaking again of female officers, what about when there's new hires? Are they automatically drawn to you that have been on the force longer, or do they gravitate to you for advice, experience, insights, just on how to effectively do their job?
I don't think the younger ones do with me because I'm old. They're
We
all
don't
scared
get
of
to see
me.
you that
They're probably more so with you.
Yeah, we don't get to see you that much.
That's
though,
true.
'cause she's at the main building. But me, I know for me, if I feel that you can answer my question better, it doesn't matter what position you're in, I will approach you. For the newer officers, asking myself questions. I don't think it has to do with just I'm a female,
Okay.
and I think it has to do with they feel more comfortable approaching and sometimes asking me.
Okay. Alrighty. So, Captain Waterworth, we didn't get into what department you actually work in. So, can you tell us more about what role you play?
Well, currently I'm in charge of the CID division, which is Criminal Investigations Division, which would be all the detectives, and then we also have the high-tech crimes, the computer guys, and the crime scene folks, and property and evidence, as well as sex offender registration.
Okay, so you're basically the boss of the guys. Somewhat.
My husband always tells everybody I'm the boss at home and at work, but I don't boss him, and I try to not be the boss so much. It's just, you're like the coordinator, you're the facilitator, you're the one that kind of tries to keep things moving. You do have to be the boss once in a while, but just making sure everybody's where they should be and have the things they need to do it.
Now, to move up into the higher positions, I'm sure there's some testing and different things you have to go through.
There is. We just recently got done doing a promotion exam again. They do them every other year, and I teased. I said, "Okay, I'm kind of past this. I've done this so many times now. It seems kind of redundant, but the thing is you still have to get in there every time. There's minimum qualifications, and we make sure everybody meets those minimum qualifications every time. But I have been doing it since back in the 90s, so it's kind of old school to me now.
Alrighty, so now we're going to switch the gears a little bit and talk about CPA, which is Citizens Police Academy. Again, there's so many people you mentioned that think they know what you do and how you do and why it should go this way and that way. But this gives people the opportunity to actually get some hands-on insight as to what officers truly go through. Of course, they don't get to do arrest and, engage in, engage fully with the suspect. However, they do get to do ride-alongs and some other fun things. So tell us more about Citizens Police Academy, and have you two ever gone through Police Academy before you decided to get on the force?
I did not. I don't know. I wouldn't have known of one being available.
It's fairly new here.
Okay. So, but have you ever had a chance to experience some of the classes or sit in, or?
I actually do teach some of the classes.
Well, tell us more.
And if for me, having been there as long as I was, it was kind of like Ray mentioned during one of the breaks. Everybody they watch TV. That is not how this works. We do not solve things in 55 minutes. Minus commercial breaks. So it gives people kind of a false sense of what you can and can't do. Until you start watching things like maybe Live PD or something like that, you don't get a true sense of what's going on. But for me, the thing that I enjoy most, or that I'm most excited about with Citizens Police Academy, is we have different officers coming in each week. And so you don't get just to hear from me or just to hear from Sergeant Lyle or the chief or somebody like that. Another week it may be Officer Thomas that comes in. Another week it may be Sergeant Smith, who's our crime scene guy. Another week it may be one of our SWAT team members that comes in. And so they get to meet different officers within the police department, and I think that's a lot of it. It's kind of like you mentioned when you make a traffic stop and people feel somewhat relieved because they're like, oh, okay, so here's somebody that might have something in common with. that's the whole point of Citizens Police Academy, not just to let people know kind of what we do and how we do it, but for them to get to make those personal contacts with those officers so that when something does happen, they're like, oh, okay, that's Officer so-and-so, and they taught this part of Citizens Police Academy. I know this person, and it builds that trust among people like nothing else can. It's a personal contact in a non-confrontational way. Nothing bad has happened to you, and so the relationship that you can build in that circumstance is so much better than if you can only encounter those officers when they've stopped you on a traffic stop or after you've been the victim of a burglary.
Okay. And we've heard from oh goodness, one of the officers, she actually decided to become an officer after going through one of the classes. And so several other of your officers, I think Cheyenne
and Victoria both.
Victoria
were Citizens Police Academy graduates.
So there are some good things that come out of that. People get to see, okay, this is what it's really like, and I think I want to do this. And they decide to follow through and take the test and go through the training, and now here they are. And now they're able to offer some insight to the community and just kind of be a support system there. I wanted to ask a question about how important is representation, if I didn't ask that before, for you, now that you're on the inside, and the different people that you encounter, how important is having full representation on the police force?
Or just...
Well, females, and then when it comes to ethnicity and gender.
I think it's very important in all of those aspects, because people have this view of law enforcement. It's just a bunch of white guys who shouldn't have guns. They shouldn't be enforcing the law. They're unfair. All they want to do is kill people. And that's just not true. That's not true. Jonesboro's police department is getting more diverse. That's a little harder because of everything that's going on in the news and on TV and everything, but it is getting more diverse. There are more women applicants. I know, I've only been here 3.5 years, but at one point it was just you, Sergeant Odom, Sergeant Brandon, myself, and McCain at one point, and now there's way double that. Okay. So it's getting easier or getting more prevalent to have female officers, but it's definitely important to have female officers, to have black officers, any other ethnicity, any other religion. It just so people, because the community is diverse.
Yes, right.
So I want people who feel like they're underrepresented in the community to know, oh, hey, there is somebody on the police force that looks like me, or that may think like me, that may practice the same religion, or whatever the case may be. So I will have somebody if I need to relate to.
Okay. And one of the things that I have said several times over the years as I'm interviewing people and talking to people, this is a team. The police department, it's not any individual officer, it's a team. And when you're building that team, you don't want all pitchers or all catchers or all outfielders. Okay. Right. We have got to have people that bring all those things to the table, like Ray's talking about, because that's what makes your team stronger. Okay. That you have different viewpoints and that you can all learn from one another.
I know that you all go through some continuing education and training in a variety of seminars just to help keep you on top of what's current and what's new in the world, period. Do you all ever do diversity trainings or diversity classes maybe? And when I say diversity, I mean discussing, either you're able to ask each other questions, how do I deal with, someone of this race or someone of this gender or someone of this religious background? Do you all have those diversity conversations, trainings amongst yourselves?
Yes, we have to take, I know there's one training we have to take every year for diversity. It's
state mandated that we take it, bias-based policing.
Okay.
Every year.
So do you feel that people open up and actually ask the real questions? And do people ever get really deep without someone else getting offended? I would rather someone ask me than to go out in the community and do something, then have to come back and apologize for it later.
I know on shift we do.
Okay.
We have shift briefings before we actually go on the street and start patrolling. And we talk amongst each other and we ask questions. And I mean, it's not an invasive thing. Okay. It's not, I don't get uncomfortable. If you want to ask me a question, hey, should we say this to this type of person, or I'll let you know. I don't want you to go to a call and treat somebody or disrespect them and not know that you're disrespecting. Okay. So I know on my shift we talk all the time about certain things.
Okay, that's awesome. Like you said, I would rather someone ask me than then they have to come back and kind of tuck their tail and like, I'm really sorry. Well, okay, you should have handled it this way. Whatever the situation was. So I'm very happy that I'm overall happy with our Jonesboro Police Department. Of course, I don't know everyone on the force. I've gotten to meet several people that have come here, and for the most part, we don't hear, bad, quote unquote, bad things. We don't have our officers just out in the street, doing their own thing. There are a lot of other cities and things that happen give, like, the nation as a whole a bad rap, give the police department as a whole a bad rap. So I'm sure that you all have faced that. Since you're out on the street, I'm sure you have faced. Have you ever had someone say to you, don't shoot me, don't kill me, don't, like, someone, because of what has happened in the past in other cities and states, do people approach you like that?
I've had people do that. I've actually had, most recently, I had a domestic where I was the first on the scene, and I could hear the guy was throwing stuff against the wall. He was throwing her, he was hitting her. I could hear it, and my first instinct was to just, kick the door in, make entry, get to her. But I was just like, okay, statistically, domestics go really bad for police officers if they're alone. And sometimes when they have somebody there. So I waited a couple, and it was just a few seconds before another officer came, and I was like, hey, we're probably gonna have to make entry because he's hurting her right now. So we listened a little bit more for a few seconds, and then we just started banging on the door. We told him, like, hey, if y'all don't open the door, we're coming in. The guy opened the door, and we had him, because you didn't know. We did have him at gunpoint because we didn't know. It sounded terrible. Okay. Any reasonable person listening to that, it sounded terrible. So he was like, oh, I'm scared. You were just in there beating your wife. Don't shoot me. You were just beating your wife.
Okay, so now he's scared because you all showed up.
Right. But come on outside. Turn around. Put your hands behind your back.
Oh, wow.
That's one of the things I think people misunderstand, too. They're like, well, that officer, the whole time they're talking to me, they had their hand on their gun. Well, think about where your hands fall normally. Most people are going to put their hands on their waist. Well, if I put my hands on my hips or on my waist, where's it at? It's that thing is there all the time. We don't even realize it.
Okay. We're going to stop right there and take another break. When we come back, we'll just wrap up some highlights. Maybe give some pointers for the community so they'll know how to engage you when approached by an officer. So you're tuned in to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM, and we'll be right back after these announcements.
You're listening to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. We'll be right back.
We're back with Money Matters. I'm Alfred Edmond Jr. Regardless of the reason you apply for credit, the last thing you want is for your application to be rejected. Creditors don't like to see that a person is utilizing all of their available credit, as this can signal that they are living on credit, and opening a new line will only increase current indebtedness. What to do? Pay down credit card debt to equal no more than 30% of available credit. Credit utilization is the second highest weighted element of the scoring model, so lowering debt could also benefit your credit score. Your overall debt is too high. A person's debt to income ratio is a reflection of how much is owed relative to their income. People have expenses beyond credit cards. Thus, lenders take all existing obligations into consideration. What to do? You can either increase your income or decrease your debt. The important thing is to not appear that you owe more money to lenders and credit card companies than you can responsibly manage. I'm Alfred Edmond Jr. for Money Matters, a product of American Urban Radio Networks.
Money Matters is made possible by the Jonesboro Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, a nonprofit organization dedicated to uncompromising commitment to communities, service, leadership, empowerment. www.jonesboroalumnidst.org.
Money Matters is brought to you by Bancorp South, offering checking, savings, loans, credit cards, and wealth management. 5 locations in Jonesboro to serve you. www.bancorpsouth.com or 870-972-9800.
KLEK thanks CJ Pepper and the staff of Life Strategies Counseling Incorporated for helping people through hard times in life such as depression, family issues, stress, abuse, and more. They offer counseling and therapy for all ages, individuals, families, and groups. They are located at 1217 Stone Street. Phone number 1-866-972-1268 or online at lscihelp.com.
The Mu Omicron Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated was established on January 1st, 1977, originally serving Blytheville, Arkansas, and now serving Jonesboro, Blytheville, Osceola, Marion, and West Memphis, Arkansas. Today, the chapter continues to make an impact by focusing on Alpha's national community outreach initiatives such as My Brother's Keeper, A Voteless People is a Hopeless People, Go to High School, Go to College, Project Alpha, Boy Scouts, and the March of Dimes. The Mu Omicron Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated is committed to Alpha's mission of developing leaders, promoting brotherhood and academic excellence, while providing service and advocacy to the community. More information about the Mu Omicron Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated is available at MOL Alphas on Facebook or via email at molalphas@gmail.com.
Hey ladies, it's Nettie Jones, the girlfriend's therapist. I'm here with my girls, Elise Lyles and Brianna Hill.
The Fab Squad.
Tune in this week for our featured bad woman of color. She's bold,
audacious,
and determined. She's a bad,
shut your mouth,
woman of color. So tune in this week from
10 to 11
right here on KLEK 102.5 FM.
You don't want to miss it.
Tell a friend.
KLEK 102.5 FM is giving you more praise. That's right. Starting Wednesday, January 3rd, KLEK brings to you All Gospel Wednesdays, every Wednesday from 5 a.m. till 7 p.m. Enjoy all of your favorite gospel hits and get your praise on all day long with Cheryl Underwood Radio in the morning, Brother Cobbs during the day, and Hezekiah Walker to take you into your local church Bible study. Plus, the return of the KLEK Praise Break. Lift up your hands, rejoice, and praise Him all day, all Wednesday, every Wednesday on KLEK 102.5 FM.
The Epic Center, located at 1899 Hasbrook Road, County Road 333, is Jonesboro's newest venue for entertainment for the entire family. They offer an auditorium with theater-style seating for up to 1,100 guests, a large stage, professional lighting and sound, dressing rooms, concessions, and more. Available for weddings, concerts, pageants, birthday parties, showers, and more. Booking and other information is available at Epic Center Jonesboro on Facebook, epiccenterjonesboro.com, and at 870-530-5841.
House of Details, located at 3217 Herb Street, Suite C, is a proud supporter of KLEK, offering detailing on any type of vehicle, waxing, clear coat protection, basic wash, hand wash, shampoo, interior cleaning, buffering, headlight restoration, pickup, delivery, and more. With a motto of, anything mean, we can clean. Details available via Quentin Bogard at 870-273-5187. House of Details on Facebook and houseofdetailsjonesboro.com.
Support for KLEK is brought to you by
Fullness of Joy Ministries, 2120 Thorn Street, Jonesboro, under the direction of Bishop Adrian Rogers and co-pastor Susan Rogers. www.fjministries.org.
And now back to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM.
All right, welcome back to the last segment of Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. I've truly been enjoying my conversation with Captain Lynn Waterworth and Officer Rayonica Thomas. I want to thank you all for being so candid about your experience on the Jonesboro Police Department, and I want to just give a shout out to all of the individuals that are serving on the Jonesboro Police Department, and definitely want to give a shout out to Chief Rick Elliott. Even in his absence, he had to deal with some family issues. Our condolences are with you and your family today. I want to just thank everybody for the service that you provide. I know that you encounter some wild and crazy people throughout your shifts, and I'm sure there's so many stories that you all could tell, but we thank you for protecting and serving this community as a whole. I'm sure your families are very appreciative of the work that you do, and they're very proud of the work that you do. So even though you don't have children, I'm sure your mom still, though, kind of checks upon you, like, okay, how you doing? Are you sure you want to still do this job? Or
Well, she doesn't necessarily ask that, but my mom calls. I talk to my mama every day.
Okay.
She'll cook for me when I'm on break.
Wow.
We talk about everything. And my mom is a social worker.
Okay.
So she's been dealing with law enforcement even way before I became a police officer. So I think that's kind of why she was okay with me.
Okay.
She wasn't as protective as some other mothers might be, but we could talk about anything.
Okay.
If I'm having an issue where I might have to take somebody's kid or make a hotline call, I can actually call my mom and ask her, "Hey, Mama, is this something that y'all will go out on?" She's, "Oh yeah, call them."
Okay.
"Oh yeah, call them."
All right.
Yeah, definitely. So.
All right. So before we go to you, Miss Lynn, Captain, I want to give a shout out to Brother Bernard Cobbs, who is one of our DJs here. He'll be on later doing All Gospel Wednesday. So, all right, Captain Lynn, you have children. So what has it been like, you as an officer and having conversations with your children?
Well, it's a little, I think my kids, we laugh, my husband and I sometimes are like, they may be a little bit warped because like I can remember, of course they're grown, my daughter will soon be 19 and my son's about to be 24, but he was probably one of the few 7 or 8 year olds around town that the conversation actually took place in our home. Okay, listen, if this or this happened and mom and dad tell you to get your sister somewhere, what do you do? I go straight into the store and I go to the service desk and I tell them that my parents are officers and they need help and this kind of thing. So I mean, because reality is we didn't really have any expectation of having negative contact from somebody that maybe we had dealt with before. The reality is that could happen, and so we wanted our children to be safe. But they're not warped too bad, I promise.
Okay, alrighty. Well, we thank you all so much for coming, and we want to encourage everyone, if you are considering being a police officer, apply. You're doing monthly testing now. Testing is online. You can apply online. The testing, some of it you have to do in person. For the physical agility part, we will give you the answers. Okay.
Before you get there, you will know exactly what you've got to do, and there are tutorials online and stuff like that. We want people to be successful. I'm so excited when folks like Miss Rayonica come on board, because to me, that's the future.
Okay.
And that's always exciting for us who want the department to be its best, to see those new officers come on.
And we thank you, Rayonica, for the service that you provide. And hopefully more young girls will see you in your position and say, okay, I want to be just like her.
Yes,
I want to do that. I want to protect and serve. All right, so we thank you all, and thank everyone out there for tuning in to Community Conversations on KLEK. We couldn't do what we do without the support of you, the community. So thank you for everything, and this has been your Wednesday edition of Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. We hope that you have a great day, and I hope the sun is trying to peek out. I hope it comes on out and takes away this wind. So have a blessed and warm day, everybody.
Thank you for listening to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM, a program focusing on the people working to make the Jonesboro community a better place while offering viewpoints from all sides of the issues. The views